SEC submits XRP case settlement. Now, the case is not officially over, but where are we at? We are at the point where the SEC publicly acknowledges that they didn't have the winning hand at the poker table, that they were wrong on the facts, and this case never should have happened under this and continued under this previous administration, Gary Gensler, and a gang of operatives that look to hold back America to line their own pockets. And so what better shirt could I wear for tonight's episode other than the XRP poker table? Like I said, the SEC did not have the winning hand, and they have just publicly folded. Now, folks didn't want to take it from Brad Garlinghouse. They didn't want to take it from Stuart Alderati, the chief legal officer from Ripple. They didn't want to take it from me, that the case, for all intents and purposes, was over. They didn't want to hear that. That wasn't acceptable. But now, can you take it from the SEC? You don't have to take it from me, Brad, Stuart, the team at Ripple, or anybody else. Let's just refer to what the SEC has submitted today, which is a settlement agreement in the XRP versus Ripple case. Yes, they get to collect a little slap on the wrist fine, and they can celebrate that. I'm sure Gary Gensler will do an interview or a seminar at MIT. Maybe they'll allow him to grace them with his presence on MIT once again. And I'm sure he'll celebrate that victory, that they still get to collect a little checky check. He'll say that was the hard work that they put in to expose Ripple, right? But this case is over, and XRP price is moving up. As I titled the episode this morning, XRP breakout, $3 in May, $4 in June. What I'm really doing is just honing in on the next levels, and this was one event, one bullish catalyst that we had. We can now check it off. Now, you still are not, the official, case is not over all the way. So there still will be probably 2 more filings, which funny enough is going to take us to 589 total court filings overall. And sure enough, today's date is 589, May 9th, May 8th. And you add up 2025, right? 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 5 is 9. So today's date is 589 for the numerology decoders and riddlers. Boy, are they having themselves a day. The riddlers. And you gotta, should we say, hey, let's take a moment of silence for the full-time fudsters that are actually back to work today. Later on in this episode, I get to show you how Laura the Shill Shin is back at it. No surprise here that she's back fudding Ripple and XRP. And get this, she's citing an article from Politico that cites an anonymous source. You can't make it up, folks. They are so desperate to FUD and suppress XRP. Now, speaking of coincidences, I was just considering today, I'm like, are you kidding me? The day that we get another big announcement, big breaking news in this Ripple case, and Twitter was having issues during the middle of the day, replies and other issues were happening on Twitter. And I'm just thinking, is this a coincidence, or is this another way that they're suppressing? I've actually joked about this in the past about how, that's when the lights would go out, is when the case settled up, it was over. And that's when they'll flip the switch off first before they flip that switch back on and send it to 589. I got to say that if we end up with 589 court filings in this case overall, that's pretty much going to lock in a $589 XRP for me. You give credit to the riddlers where it's due. And I got to say, if we end up with 589, you can't make this stuff up, folks. But hey, cheers everybody for tapping, Ben. We're going to be getting started here. Current events. I just have a few data points, and then we're going to get right on into this case. I'm going to break it down for everybody. But the SEC has officially acknowledged publicly that they're folding. That's where we're at. And cheers to that, everybody. God bless you guys. Let's get it going. Boy, does it feel great to be in the XRP family, doesn't it? God bless it. Couple current event notes. Let's take a look here. Spencer Hakamian. Interesting point here. He's predicting an imminent de-escalation with China coming. He says, 1, we are just weeks away from a full collapse of our economy without Chinese inventory, which I think this guy's being a little bit dramatic, but it is something to consider here. If ships start leaving China this weekend, they'll get to the United States just in time to avoid that disaster. So yesterday, Trump said he wouldn't reduce tariffs on China under any circumstances. Today, he said he is very open to reducing the tariffs. He obviously knows his time is up playing the tough guy. Now, the big, bold statement from Trump today said go out and buy stocks. Now, remember, the last time he said, he made a bullish statement, I forget exactly what it was. It was right before he announced the pause on the tariffs and brought it all down to basically 10% baseline and basically put most of the tariffs on hold. The last time he put out a bullish statement like this was right before that. And today he just blatantly came out and said in response in the context around this, because we don't want to allow the fake news media to take his statement out of context. The context was of our economy recovering, building from the ground back up, not just an economy and a GDP that's propped up on government spending, but one where we actually see the private sector and real wages grow. That's the objective with manufacturing, bringing it back here to the America is the end goal. And so in the context of that, President Trump says it's time we're going to, come back and we're going to roar like a rocket ship and it's time to go out and buy stocks. That's what he said. And so I think to this guy's point, he's might be onto something here that we might have a deal with China here sooner rather than later. And I know that the market is ready to hear this one. And as soon as we do, it's going to be back off to the races, just like it was after I said, wait for us to get that negative Q1 GDP on April 30th. That was last Wednesday. Market came down. Yep, we were ready for that one. And then we said, probably not done. We probably flush it out into the Federal Reserve meeting May 7th. Sure enough, finish that flush out, and then basically the market digests it. Now we get bullish. Now we got trade deals. Now we got peace deals, and we start ripping to the upside. Now, the big one's going to be China, and he says Trump said buy stocks today, the same exact comment he made before he paused all the tariffs on the rest of the world on April 9th. Risk assets are relentlessly ripping. Bitcoin stocks, even oil, safe haven assets like gold and treasuries are selling. Really seems like the major market participants, whom we know have gotten tipped off by the administration before, know what is coming. Feel free to disagree with me. Now, in my opinion, not only do they know that a China deal is probably right around the corner, at least some sort of an agreement, and I think that they also know that the Fed is eventually going to fold and have to cut interest rates. Now, what President Trump is up against is that yield was selling off. The treasuries have been selling off, and they've actually had to come in and backstop this. So check this out. The Fed bought $8.8 billion worth of 30-year bonds today. This is on top of the $34.8 billion it bought earlier this week. That's $43.6 billion in 4 days. Now, this is not QE technically, but we're supposed to be not in a period of QE, right? It's supposed to be quantitative tightening. In the March meeting, I said, watch out. They're going to say that they're going to reduce their balance sheet. They did. And then here now we see them providing another backstop to the tune of $43.6 billion in the past 4 days. That is just shy of the $50 billion backstop that they had to show up with at those treasury auctions back in August of last year when the Japan carry trade started to unwind. See, we're not into the clear yet. But it's going to take a big one to break. I mean, XRP back below $2, Bitcoin ripped back above 100,000 here, just chugging along, doing all right. And really the market's just digested the worst of the tariffs. They're desensitized to the tariffs. And now the expectation is it's going to be peace deals, trade deals. We get the big, beautiful budget passed, which will probably add to the deficit. But it's going to, increase output here back home. And because we're going to be reducing regulation and basically codifying into law the 2017 tax cuts. And that's what Scott Bessent was saying on the Capitol Hill the past 2 days when he was testifying. He says deficit to GDP is what we need to measure, basically making sure that we're not adding more debt than we are growing the economy. And he straight up said, I was actually going to tee up the clip, but I have so much to cover that I was going to tee up the clip of him saying that they understand this very well. He was directly asked this on Capitol Hill the other day. Now, continuing on, this is Raoul Paul. He says, feeling kind of fruity. Banana Zone Phase 2 is what he's calling for. Should run until August or so with short, sharp corrections en route, obviously. Please enjoy your fruit responsibly. Well, this is why, I've been telling you guys, when we've been chopping sideways for the past few months, folks wanted to give up on XRP. I literally saw people in my comments this morning saying that they sold all their XRP. Now, there's a lot of scammers that show up in the comments, and I've seen a new script that the scammers are using, is they'll comment that they're done with XRP, and now they're going to start trading with so-and-so scammer bot. And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's not going to work too well on the XRP family because the real ones are not getting scared of XRP one bit. We've actually been doubling down. We actually still have capital liquid on the sidelines, and we've been getting our orders filled up. So that's not going to be a good pitch from the scammers' perspective. But you're also seeing real people were in my comments this morning saying that they sold off. They're done. I saw one guy said he sold off his XRP to go into Bitcoin. Now, assuming that these people are telling the truth, boy, oh boy, it only gets worse for the full-time fudsters, because not only did they sell off their own bags, or usually they have a little moon bag, but they fudded so many people out of XRP before it took off here. And just up to the $2 and $3 level has been life-changing for some. It could have been life-changing for many more if these fudsters wouldn't have just lied blatantly about... Imagine all the people that said that Ripple was going to lose this case. How wrong can you be? They're buried, by the way. The full-time fudsters are done. There's no recovering from this. It's over for them. It's absolutely over. There's no recovering. Oh, back... Why would... Oh, yeah, I did have to... Let me pull this up for you guys. My apologies. Here we go. How about that? My apologies. I forgot that I'd lost my source earlier today, and I have to refresh this for you guys. My apologies, guys. Thank you for letting me know. I'm glad that I checked the comments before I kept on ranting for another 45 minutes with no source feed showing. But here's the proof right here on the Fed buying back all those bonds, having to show up at the auctions to the tune of 43.6 billion. Now let's move into the fun stuff. Brad Garlinghouse responding to the stablecoin bill getting shut down at the Senate level. He says stablecoins are exploding globally for their real-world applications. The sheer amount of recent announcements across crypto, fintech, and traditional finance should indicate as such. The sooner that the U.S. can pass workable, clear rules, the faster it reaps the benefits of this technology. Now, I was looking into this a little bit further. I saw that two Republicans, Senator Josh Hawley and Rand Paul, both voted no. And I was looking into that a little bit deeper. There are some things that we didn't want to see on this bill. Like this bill, as it is right now, the original draft would stop us from being able to earn yield on our stablecoins. So this is a bankster's bill as far as, that point right there, right? The banks getting their way, not allowing us to hold stablecoins outside of their accounts. They want to be able to keep you within the banking system. So the old guard making one last desperate attempt to slip that into the stablecoin bill. And we believe that that's might be one of the reasons why it wasn't passed. I don't know the intentions behind Republican Senators Josh Hawley and Rand Paul, but they actually joined the rest of the Democrats in voting no on this bill and stopped it from going forward. And really, this wasn't even the final vote. This is just to bring it to the floor for markup, which that's the part that I'm frustrated with, and I don't understand why we stopped the bill from coming to at least have an open debate, discussion, and markup. It's not the final version right here, so there's some things that we need to hash out, but we have to, as a matter of national security, get this passed. So unless you're literally just stalling for the old guard and the banksters, what are we doing here? And that's what Elizabeth Warren has been spearheading very openly. And then Rand Paul and Josh Hawley, a little surprise there. We'll be looking into that further, though. Now, this is the big one that dropped today, folks, and this is why we're celebrating the SEC publicly acknowledging and filing the settlement agreement letter. This case is over. Waiting for a few final things to be done. The next legal steps here from James Flan. Judge Torres needs to provide an indicative ruling as to whether the court would, 1, dissolve the injunction and release the escrow with $50 million going to the SEC and the balance back to Ripple. If Judge Torres provides the indicative ruling, The SEC and Ripple will ask the Second Circuit for a limited remand back to Judge Torres to ask for the relief described above. Upon the granting of the remand, the SEC and Ripple will file a motion with Judge Torres asking for the relief described above. After the injunction is dissolved and the funds are distributed, the SEC and Ripple will ask the Court of Appeals to dismiss the SEC's appeal and Ripple's cross appeal. Then it will be over. Now, I kid you not. Somebody had tagged me in some crap, and it was one of the full-time fudsters, and I'm not going to say their name. I'm not going to give them any more attention than they already, the little bit of attention that they do get for crying about Ripple and XRP. Literally shared this today. They retweeted it, and they said, oh boy, this could go one of two ways, as if Judge Torres wouldn't agree to this settlement agreement. As if there's a real possibility that Judge Torres would not agree to this settlement and that the judges would hold this up in some sort of way, right? You have the SEC agreeing to settle up, asking to lift the injunction here. And the injunction was very general anyways. It just said basically don't violate Section 5, which is just repeating the law that's already on the books. It was basically a meaningless injunction other than it just put a little bit of taint on Ripple's operations trying to work with institutions, right? This will be completely gone, and this is the big deal that Ripple needed. The slap on the wrist fine of $50 million, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal at all. But really, it's the injunction that will provide Ripple clarity going forward. So, key takeaways, Ripple pays $50 million instead of the full $125 million. The case does not overturn previous findings. Ripple agrees not to challenge them. And basically all that was against Ripple is that the contracts to institutional investors, those were the unregistered securities contracts. Both parties want to avoid more litigation and are settling through mutual agreement. The settlement is considered legal, fair, and in the public interest under the court standards. So this case, for all intents and purposes, is over. Just like Stuart Alderati said, you are just waiting for a few last court proceedings to happen, and then this case is over. Here's a direct quote from Cowboy Crypto. As in the above decisions, the court should grant the SEC and Ripple's joint motion and issue an indicative ruling that the court would, upon said party's motion, dissolve the injunction currently in place against Ripple and order the escrowed funds be distributed per the settlement agreement. $50 million to the SEC, the remainder to Ripple. That's $75 million back to Ripple, right? And doing so would promote efficiency and the policy favoring settlements and would obviate the need for additional litigation in this court and the Court of Appeals. The SEC is basically waving the white flag. Where have we seen that white flag before? Out of the castle, right? Waving that white flag, just like the Bearable Guy showed us in 2024, the last Christmas that we just had. Bearable Guy delivered us another riddle, and not only did our knight now have the crown from the king was off in the woods crying by himself, and the hidden hand was waving the white flag out of the castle. Here we are on day 589, and we settle things up. Now we take it one step further for the Riddlers, and just to have a little bit of fun tonight, what do you say? Huge shout out to Ashley Prosper. Ripple and the SEC settlement motion makes docket 983. Judge Torres' order granting or denying the motion will make 984. Oh, I forgot. It's in reverse. Sorry, I forgot it's in reverse. It's not 589. It's going to be 985. Watch this. So this is 983. Judge Torres' order granting or denying the motion will make 984. Assuming she agrees with everything, the final filing should be the satisfaction of judgment document filed by the SEC after the court confirms the $50 million has been paid, number 985. That would conclude the case, and we would all know we live in the Matrix 589. Now, funny enough, I saw somebody post up a picture screenshot. Brad Garlinghouse still is following 589 people, and Ripple in reverse is following, what would that be, 985. So you guys tell me whether we're crazy. We got another crazy guy right here, Alter of Ego, 5'8", 2025 equals 9. Well, what's 589 in simple gematria equals 133? What just got decided today as well 133 cardinals are chosen to elect a new pope. A new pope from America, you say? You know, it's interesting. Ripple actually has ties. There's a couple of partnerships that they did with the Vatican, I believe. It's interesting. There is a connection there. I mean, you look around every corner, every institution, dang near every central bank. Ripple's there. They've always been there. And most importantly, as we celebrate tonight, they had the best hand at the poker table. The truth was on our side. And the reason why I titled this video here today, SEC submits settlement for XRP case, or SEC submits XRP case settlement, is because this case was about XRP. This case was about attacking XRP and every single one of you guys that held XRP. I didn't get the time to print out these documents, but I will be printing them out. I will be adding them to my red folder. And yes, the damages are absolutely massive. Our community was attacked, plain and simple. It's why John Deaton had over 70,000 holders of XRP sign on to his deal. It's why we have so much interest in still seeking some sort of restitution for the damages done to the XRP community. Shout out Jimmy Valley for still working. Now, ultimately, all we've ever wanted is a level playing field. And it shouldn't have had to take this, $150 million that Ripple had to spend, 4+ years battling the SEC, all for the new SEC to come in with a little bit of common sense, being reasonable, and saying, yeah, some of these transactions, sure, we'll collect that fine. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for paying to play. But we never should have brought this case. And remember, the SEC was trying to get over 1.3 billion originally, and they actually upped that to over 2 billion is how much they were trying to make this about. Not only is Ripple not paying that, they're paying way less at 50 million. And they were able to sell billions of XRP during this lawsuit and no repercussions for such actions, because we know that they restructured these contracts in a way where they weren't going to get in trouble. That's why I say that the injunction really is a market perception thing, in my opinion. It's just a blemish that you don't want to have when you're sitting across the table in a boardroom from an institution and they say, hey, we want to acquire 1 billion XRP, but you got an injunction on you for selling XRP to institutions. So, I mean, think about this. The institutions at the table, they're sitting and they're saying, if you sell this to exchanges, you have full clarity. But if you sell this to us, we might get hit with an injunction or be involved in some sort of nonsense. That's no longer going to be a worry. And imagine the full-time FUDsters are still getting desperate. They're still here today making up stories about Ripple and XRP. Check this one out, guys. And if you haven't already, please make sure you have liked and shared this video. It's time to expose Laura the Shill Shin once again. Oh boy. Here we go. Absolutely bonkers, she says. A lobbying firm that had Ripple as a client got Trump to publish the XRP Solana ADA reserve post. Quote, within minutes of the president's posting, a furious David Sachs, the White House crypto czar, called Wiles to complain, according to 3 people familiar with what occurred. So, Laura the Shill Shin, coming to the defense of Ethereum, citing a political article that dropped. When did this article drop? This dropped today, 4:55 a.m. They dropped this article, From Trump Whisper to West Wing Pariah, How Lobbyist Brian Ballard Angered Trump. And this all goes back to the post, they say. Now, I want you to see who their source is. Let's zoom in here. I want to make sure you see this. On a Sunday morning in early March, President Trump greenlit a Truth Social post promoting a crypto strategic reserve. Hours later, he felt like he'd been played. That weekend at Mar-a-Lago, an employee of the lobby shop run by Brian Ballard, who was attending a donor event at the resort, had personally buttonholed the president and encouraged him multiple times to tout his desire to promote the industry. She even gave him a copy of a message she thought he should write. So this article, this source, is one anonymous employee of the lobby shop run by Brian Ballard, a very prominent lobbyist within DC, who has clients ranging all the way from Chevron, JP Morgan, Palantir, Netflix, Bayer, United Airlines, and T-Mobile. Now, the problem here is, once again, we have the liberal media citing anonymous sources to try to expose or undermine President Trump and his policies, his statements, and what's happening with our White House's agenda. And how many times do we have to see the liberal media get completely exposed on these lies, where they try to come out and say, oh, there's turmoil. He's about to get rid of Secretary Pete Hegseth, Department of Defense. He's about to get rid of so-and-so. He's about, oh, Scott Bessent's about to leave. Who's the source? Oh, some anonymous sources from the Hill. The anonymous sources from the Hill never end, and it's why they've lost all reputation. Now, is it any surprise to me to see Laura the Shill Shin spreading such nonsense? It's not. Because they know that their Ethereum free pass is over. They know that the monopoly is over. As you've seen recent clips of the Bitcoin bros and some of these other silly guys finally having to admit that, yeah, XRP is not a security. This case is about to end. It has real utility, and it has the strongest community in crypto outside of Bitcoin, right? I mean, I would say we're stronger than the Bitcoin community. The Bitcoin community might be bigger, but I would argue that the XRP family is stronger. We didn't have to endure. The Bitcoin community has had nothing but good times and really no worries ever since 2016, 2017, versus what we had to go through. And that's all we ever wanted to get to. But they're still in the process of trying to hold us back. Meanwhile, Jason Yanowitz from Blockworks says it's time to fix Ethereum one podcast at a time. So it seems like Laura the Shill Shin in her podcast and her program isn't getting the job done. The Ethereum Foundation, I bet you they're going to be looking to take advantage of an opportunity to sell ETH above 2,000 again. They're probably happy and dancing around doing a little Vitalik rap song to that one. And so you have Blockworks here looking to hire for an Ethereum podcast. They're paying $110,000. Now think about this for a second. This is what it takes to save ETH. And he puts this out like it's a joke. How desperate are they that they have to come up with a new position here for an Ethereum podcast? We got 6 figures waiting for you if you want to shill Ethereum. A project that has literally no attention outside other than we're just still forced to use it while we roll over to all these additional layer 2s. And while other layer 1s like XRP Ledger and others get programmability. And what do? We strip out the EVM, take it to our sidechain, and we leave Ethereum in the dust, playing around. Oh, another update from Vitalik. Oh, another rap song from Vitalik. And oh, another piece of misinformation from Laura the Shill Shin. Another joke from Blockworks. And it's like these guys just seen the light here recently. You've seen some of the clips of them going around in their podcasts. Oh, gee, yeah, this XRP thing, man. Literally today, Jason Yanowitz, he puts out this tweet. And this is a great tweet. I'll give him credit. This is very great tweet, noting all of the bullish catalysts and activity that we have within our ecosystem. He says Stripe launched stablecoins in 100 plus countries, Ramp launched stablecoin cards, Superstate launched on-chain equities, Robinhood is building their own crypto platform, the biggest deal in crypto history, Coinbase Deribit, Meta is back in the stablecoin game, Ethereum shipped a massive upgrade, who cares, Bitcoin ripped through 100,000. Wake up, fam. Internet capital markets are being built in real time, and it's pretty dang cool. Now, I responded to him and I said, number 9, SEC submits settlement agreement letter in the Ripple case. He put out this tweet within an hour after the news just broke. And I'm thinking, how, you guys all want to use this precedent to say that Ethereum's not a security, to say that your crap coin's not a security, even though the facts and circumstances around your project are completely different from that of Ripple and XRP and how they conducted themselves and how they conducted sales. But everybody wants to use the XRP case as the precedent for their crap coin. But he can't even acknowledge that, yes, we just got another acknowledgement, another case dropped here by the SEC. These other cases weren't as far along as they are with the Ripple case, which is why our case is taking so freaking long. It's all because, we're actually in the appeal process. It's not just a matter of dropping the case with one filing, like the SEC has done with literally every other single case. The only one left was the Ripple case. But this is what they're resorting to. Anonymous sources saying that President Trump was furious. And why didn't he come out and clarify the statement? Why hasn't he come out and clarified the statement then? He's been asked about this. He's been asked about crypto. If he was so frustrated, why didn't he come out and put out another post? Was David Sachs really furious? See, once again, we see this liberal media. They've been so desperate to undermine President Trump and his agenda, which it's fine if you don't like Trump and you don't want to root for America and you want to undermine our country. Okay, this is what you would do. They have to resort to the lowest level of misinformation by citing these anonymous sources time and time again, putting out fake rumors about what's happening within the Trump administration. Now, whether you like our president or not, we just shouldn't have this happening. When we were, we're willing to investigate and bring accountability. And I've been critical of President Trump and some of the things that he's done within the crypto space. Overall, it's so bullish. Overall, it's so great. My big objection and frustration is that we're not moving along faster. Right? That's really my only point. But in some regards, I thought maybe we didn't need to do some of these things like the deal with World Liberty Financial, the meme coin, maybe some things that maybe we didn't need to do. But we're moving forward, right? But you see what they're willing to do. First, it's Politico. What kind of crap tabloid newspaper is that now? Right? Politico. And then you have Laura the Shill Shin. Now, the reason why I gave her the nickname the Shill is because she's just been shilling Ethereum propaganda for her entire existence. And then she's been putting out hit pieces against Ripple and XRP forever. So that's why I came up with the nickname Laura the Shill Shin. And she's living up to it once again. I just saw that she lost another one of her riders. I don't know why. I'm not going to speculate like these guys like to do. Right? These guys like to make up stories and do all sorts of, clickbait crazy stuff. Like this false news story from Politico. This is what we've been up against. And they know we're breaking free. They know that we're just 2 filings away, right? And we're about to be set free. Their propaganda, their FUD, it's over. And our message is about to go viral, folks. I couldn't think of a better time for the XRP Unleashed documentary to be going viral. That's right, folks. Fruition Productions, the formerly known XRP Unleashed, now known as the Rigged from the Start XRP documentary, will be hitting iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon next week. We appreciate all those that purchased the documentary from our website. Rentals will also start at $4.99. So you'll be able to rent it, you'll be able to buy it, iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon next week. This is where we can, right before we get to roll the credits, we get to, roll the text that says the SEC finally submitted their settlement agreement. Ripple only had to pay $50 million. XRP community is victorious and it's been set free. And the only thing left to happen is for XRP, for us to see what XRP's real potential is on a level playing field, with full utility being built out, enabled, and expanding without having to worry about getting in trouble. I couldn't think of a better time. I know it's been frustrating. I wanted this documentary to go viral way sooner. And shout out to Chris and Maya and the whole team over there. They put together a great documentary film. This encapsulates all of the XRP story perfectly. But the reason why I think it really will resonate with the American populace is because it's a story of corruption within our government It's a story of us losing our capital markets, the gold standard of capital markets, because we have this corruption that's so embedded within DC and within the bureaucracy beast. The SEC is just one head of the dragon that we've been up against. That's no longer the case, and we're taking it viral. And when we run that credits, the people will know that this case is now over. XRP is in full clarity, and now we get to see the true potential of the greatest digital asset ever created. Lock in. Lock in. For the builders, it's time to bring it to XRP Las Vegas. Easy A app is hosting a Shark Tank style competition. If you got an idea and you want to build on the XRP ledger, you're going to have 2 minutes to pitch your idea for a chance at $25,000 in prizes for the winning team. You can sign up here. So there you have it, folks. XRP Las Vegas. This is running us up. So we got the case concluding now, right? We get this official submission from the SEC. We get the XRP documentary next week. This is all leading us up to taking the party in the celebration to XRP Las Vegas, the biggest XRP conference in the world. And it's only getting bigger and bigger every year. The Bitcoin bros are going to be there this year too. They're having their Bitcoin conference the few days before ours. And so Vegas is going to be taken over by Bitcoin and the XRP family. And now we get to truly see who's going to be the real winner on the level playing field. Now, quick XRP technical analysis update from Dom Trader View. He says that the bulls just breached the quarterly VWAP for the first time in 50 days. That's the volume weighted average price. This is a big area. If it can hold as support, I am looking at the all-time high VWAP as the next stop, and that's 247. Let's take a look at the chart. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, VWAP, volume weighted average price. Back up to 250. Back up to 250. That's an important number, right? You know, it's a few multiples from 50 cents. That opportunity to secure XRP at 50 cents for years. God bless all of you guys that took advantage of it. One more point, and then we're going to go to rapid fire Q&A. I didn't realize that Zebec, I've been talking about the ZBCN token, Zebec network. I didn't realize that it's actually available on the Decent wallet, but you can secure your ZBCN with Decent. Zebec network assets with full swap capabilities and cold wallet grade security. Store, manage, and swap ZBCN safely. I have Decent Wallet now linked up down below as a community resource. It's also available on my website, ZachRector.com, with all of our other community resources. I greatly appreciate you guys for buying the XRP family merch, for joining our private community, investing in yourself, and joining in just a great community of folks who basically are covering all of our bases, from current events, cryptocurrency, financial markets, and more. And for all of you guys who just do what we ask you to every video, which is like the video, help us out, share it out far and wide. And we really appreciate you for showing up every single day, guys. But linked up down below, we got community resources. Appreciate you for supporting us. And let's go into our rapid fire Q&A. I got some super chats to catch up on real quick. Let's take a look at it. And here we go. Jason Saunders, thank you for the 589 Canadian. Hey, Zach, could you Google TOSRF, 21 shares XRP ETP? Looks like I can buy it at RBC in Canada. Is this a spot ETF? It's OTC in US and not on big exchanges. Yeah, that would be live. Yeah, that would be, yeah, that's real. Yeah. That's one of many. No, well, we only have so many, but one of multiple exchange traded products that are live outside of the United States. That would be the 21 shares. Yeah, that's available in Europe. It's available in Switzerland. I would assume, yeah, it's available in Canada there too. Yeah, Jason, thank you for the super chat. 5 spot from Dennis. 3 filings left. 1, judge responds with indicative ruling, then files final 2 filing joint filings, and judge ruling. Yeah. It's coming. Corey Avila, 5 spot. Zach, first time sending a message on your YouTube to anyone. I am part of your Discord group. Any update on Jimmy Valley? Love you mucho. Corey, I appreciate you. I'm going to be reaching out to Jimmy. I suspect that if you've seen what James O'Keefe had to release about Pam Bondi, there's something going on here with our Department of Justice and our Attorney General. And I'm going to speak with Jimmy Valley and see what the next move is, but I will update you guys on that one. I will be looking forward to update you guys. Jimmy Valley still working for the XRP community, and we appreciate him big time. And Corey, thank you for being in the Discord group. I appreciate you for supporting us. Thank you. Dennis, thank you for the 2 spot. 512. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how many filings there are, right? If there's 589 filings, 985, that pretty much wraps it up. That's a done deal. XRP is going to $589 in my opinion. If the case does end with just 2 more filings at 985, consider it done. The Riddlers were right. The bear was right. XRP will be on top of the castle. Yeah. Yep, I would say so. Home base income 101, thank you for the 5 spot. Do you feel XRP investors will receive retribution? People could have owned many more. What do you think about Link 2? I actually bought 10 shares. Yeah, great point. 2 separate points though. Yeah, we deserve it. Are we going to get it? It's a tough battle. It's really tough. I hope that we do get something for these people though. I think that there's a real case. I think that if it's done right, there's a real case that we can win. I just saw John Deaton tweet out that he would love to spearhead an investigation into Operation 2.0, Operation Choke Point, that is. He would love to volunteer for President Trump and his administration alongside the Department of Justice to look into Operation Choke Point 2.0. So I know that John Deaton is still interested in working. I know that Jimmy Valley is still interested in working. In the conversations that I've had with Jimmy, basically it just comes down to, if we do this the right way, people will get some help. There's some things that could be done that are very interesting, especially the idea of a payback, basically just a check for those that can prove that they were damaged by this case, that, class action type style, but without a lawsuit, basically just getting the administration to admit that there was some wrongdoings. That is a stretch, but I think that it's an approach that's cleaner than going through a litigation. But I'll let Jimmy continue his work, and I will update you guys on that further. The odds, I would put, I wouldn't want to comment on the odds of that right now, other than to say it's a tough one. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's easy, that the odds are likely. The odds are stacked against us. But I'm not thinking of myself either, by the way. I just want to be very clear about that. When we talk about a payback, would things have gone differently? Would this have happened? Sure. But me personally, I continue to buy XRP. I cannot show hardship from the lawsuit other than the price chart of XRP and the suppression of XRP. So my bag of XRP that I bought, and many people are actually in my camp where they're thankful that the case, prolonged so long, because it allowed us to stack so much. So, I can't make a case really that I was, that I had to sell my XRP, but was I damaged? Absolutely. Just like everybody else that held XRP was, including holders outside of the United States as well, too. So I'll speak with Jimmy. I hope Jimmy's doing well. I'll check in with him and we'll get back to you guys on that one. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's our super chats. Let's continue. We got 17 minutes to do rapid fire. I'm going to keep this show at an hour tonight. So we're just going to go for another 17 minutes. I got on the XRP poker table. What do you guys think? Did we have the best hand? Did we have the facts on our side? Got my XRP shirt from you yesterday. Keep up the great work. Team's working hard to get everything out to everybody. If you have any inquiries about the merch, just send an email to merch@zachrector.com, okay? Granny's going to be a millionaire, Zach. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We know many grannies, grandpas, papas, mommies, daddies, and even young ones that we've been able to get into XRP. I know you guys helping your children, helping your grandchildren get into XRP. The blessings will be coming back to our community in a major way. In a major way. Did I talk about the stablecoin bill not passing? I briefly mentioned, yeah. Brad Garlinghouse responded. Yep. Are you taking merch to Vegas? I'm going to bring some. Yeah, I'm not going to be selling it. I'm not going to be setting up a booth there in Vegas. Vegas for me is an opportunity to connect with you guys, and it's also a way for me and wifey to have a weekend away from the little ones and have some fun. And so, we go. I mean, we're just going, and meeting with everybody and having a lot of fun doing that. I'm going to be hosting 2 sessions on stage, 1 session on Friday, 1 on Saturday. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be I Trust Capital on Friday, and then MoonPay CEO on Saturday. So it's the CEO of I Trust Capital on Friday, and then the CEO of MoonPay on Saturday that I'll be up on stage with there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But I didn't want to have the obligation of the booth and everything this year, but I might be looking at doing something like that next year. But yeah, if you guys want merch for XRP Las Vegas, get your order in now. We'll try to get it turned around as fast as possible. Really, the areas that are giving us the most trouble is Canada. Their postal service sucks. And then Europe takes a few weeks too. Europe's a stretch. And I just got in more dog tags too. So we got more dog tags available now, XRP Family and the Better Bitcoin. We got them both. Both are in stock right now. Where can we watch the XRP documentary? It's going to be on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon, and it's going to be rent for $4.99. So $5, little $5, and you can see the XRP documentary. I'll probably be hosting a watch party with my family. Have them come on by, do a watch party. Will XRP Las Vegas be online? I think that there's a live feed. I know Alan from the Staple Crew is going to be streaming live. Yep. Can't wait to see you guys. XRP stickers. Yes, we do need to do some stickers, huh? Yeah, there's some other knickknacks and things. Accessories. Yeah, I've been thinking of some other things there. You want to watch that? Yeah, you guys are. If you guys haven't seen the documentary, who here hasn't seen the documentary yet? Is there a lot of people that haven't seen the documentary? But I would encourage everybody to host a watch party. Yeah, I see you, Leanne. I appreciate that. We all got to be doing that. We all got to step up and max engage. Max engage. Get the family, friends over. Hey, guys, you're going to sit down. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have popcorn, snacks, and all the goodies. The documentary is about an hour and a half, I think. Hour and 40 minutes. So it's a little bit longer. But they're going to need something to keep them awake and focused and locked in. They're going to need something for them to stay locked in and focused because it's like nonstop. It's like an hour and a half of just nothing but like facts. And it moves pretty quickly. Well presented, but it's a lot. It's a lot. It'll be out next week. I'll let you guys know as soon as it gets out next week. I'll let you know it's going to be on Amazon, iTunes, and Google Play. Okay? Is Zebec a long-term or short-term hold? When are you planning on cashing out? Good question. For me, I shared my targets publicly already, and that's for this bull run. And it's half a penny to a penny is what I'm expecting conservatively on Zebec. Will Zebec outperform that? I hope it does. But personally, if Zebec goes up to half a penny or a penny, I'd be very happy with that return. I think that aligns with my expectations and what I see as far as the tokenomics that they're up against. That's the main thing that's going to impact that. As long as the early investors who are receiving all these newer tokens aren't going to be dumping them, there's a lot of new people coming in. The engagement that I'm seeing in Zebec is massive. I'll show you one example. if you want like a real number, I'll show you right here. I mean, this is my Zebec folder right here on X, right? This is how I create file folders. So I got ZBCN right here. Here's this guy who just bought another 1 million Zebec. That was today. And I keep on seeing a bunch of people sharing this. You know, just bought another 500,000 Zebec, just bought another 1 million Zebec. This is when Zebec had gone on down to 0.0016. And it did have a little bit of a pullback, but then it bounced back real sharp. The dip got ate up on Zebec. And so I'm starting to see posts like this, and this reminds me of the XRP community. This is what you see in very strong communities. When the market does pull back, you'll see people posting screenshots of them investing 10,000 in XRP. You know, or you know, just bought another, you know, 10,000 XRP, just bought another 1,000 XRP, right? And so this is the type of activity that you want to see, and I'm seeing it all over my timeline. Ever since I started talking about Zebec and following some people in that space, basically my feed on X has kept me up to date, and I'm seeing some really good stuff. Check this out. Oh, where did I didn't have it. Where did it go? Okay, I didn't save it, I guess. It must be somewhere else in my bookmarks. I'll find it later. But what I was going to share with you guys is that the number of Zebec staked has doubled since I did my deep dive. So I did my deep dive just a few weeks ago, and at the time there was only 1 billion staked within Zebec. 1 billion total. And ever since I did my deep dive, I did a first initial like mention of Zebec in a video, and then I did the full deep dive a couple weeks later. And it's been like a month. And during that time, the amount of staked Zebec has doubled from 1 billion to 2 billion. And that's actually over 2% of the supply, because I believe there was 100 billion Zebec total, but there's already like 5 billion that are gone or burnt or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to watch this one. Zebec's not a meme coin. It's real utility. And some people were hopping around with it. I think that's why there was a pullback, is you just had people taking profit. I saw some people on the timeline were saying, oh, I'm taking profits on Zebec to go into Stronghold and Velo. You know, for me, I just try to acquire most of these. I hold Stronghold. I don't hold Velo, but I just, you know, put new capital into Zebec. And I think that they still run higher. So I'm holding my Stronghold and I'm holding my Zebec for now. But I think that they're both going to do well. But I noticed that their spaces went from having, you know, 10,000, 20,000 listeners to their most recent one had 100,000 listeners. And I don't know, they could have used bots to pump that up or something, but just when you look at the number of holders, that you can't fudge that number, and the number of holders has grown substantially. Yeah. Now, let's go in here, guys. I wanted to update you too. Where's my chart at? I'm up over 20% on my XRP futures contract on Coinbase. I wanted to give you guys an update on this trade. So here we are right now. This futures market is opened up right now, and it's at 232. Now, it already went up to about 235, and I got my order in down here at 213. So I'm already up pretty substantially on this one. When you measure this, you'll see we're only up 9%, but I have 2.55 leverage on top of that. So, yeah, we're over 20% profit on this trade currently. And right now it's trading at a couple cent premium. We're at 239, basically 231 on the spot market. And we're at 232 on that futures. All the way up to 235 on the futures. What did we do on the spot? On the spot, we only went up to 233. Boy, did we call this pullback perfectly. Scoop that dip. Thank you very much. Did you guys scoop the dip? I want to get a vibe check. Can we get a bag check? Did you guys fill that bag up or what? Oh, answer the question about Link 2. Sorry, I got off the rails there. In regards to Link 2, my apologies. Link 2 has a new team. I'm excited because their CEO is going to actually be at XRP Las Vegas. The fact that he's showing up at XRP Las Vegas pretty much tells me all I need to know. And that is they're not afraid to come, publicly with the XRP community, explain what's happening. And I'm sure that they're going to have some positive updates to share with everybody at XRP Las Vegas. If Link 2 was in real trouble, they wouldn't be showing up at XRP Las Vegas. So I think that everybody on Link 2 is going to be fine. In fact, the people that bought like Ripple shares, you're going to be you're in really good shape. I already know you're in good shape because the share price has already appreciated so much. Trading on Link 2 is not live right now, but you still have your shares, and that's all that matters. Eventually, you'll have a marketplace, whether or not another marketplace you can transfer them, or eventually Ripple does go public. You'll eventually have the ability to cash that in, and I think that everybody invested in Ripple on Link 2 is already doing well and probably going to do a lot better because they're grossly undervalued in my opinion. Just a few more minutes though on Q&A, guys. If you could hit me with the rapid fire, I'd greatly appreciate that. Yeah, so there's your answer, David. Yeah, sorry, I got off the rails there, but yes, that's the answer. Thank you. Yes, I had my $2.08 order fill, was very happy. That's how it's done. Look at all you guys that bought that dip. Yep. And that's why our community's winning. Home base income 101. I know that you asked that question and you delivered that super chat. Thank you. Sorry I got off the rails partway through my answer. But that's my Link 2 answer right now. I mean, it's really comforting because I was worried about everybody. I never did invest myself on Link 2. I considered it, but I decided not to. And I was feeling so bad when I started to hear some things. But when I looked into it, I immediately found out, wow, it's the usual group of fudsters that are trying to spin up some drama about Link 2 instead of being adults and understanding, that, some things happen. But at the end of the day, should we be attacking people that are trying to bring great investment opportunities to unaccredited investors? I think that we should be helping them and lifting them up. I think it's actually a joke. It's criminal. It's part of why we have such a big wealth gap. The fact that unaccredited investors can't invest in these great investment opportunities. That's part of the problem that we need to address. That's not something that we should be attacking. If you can take 10,000 to the casino, you should be able to take it to private equity. If you can take 10,000 into meme coins, you should be able to take it to private equity. It's a joke. We don't need the government to protect us. Yes, Curtis, yes. Please watch out for the scammers, guys. I will never DM you. I will never send you a friend request. Not because I don't want to be friends, but because this is how the scammers are getting to you guys. They impersonate me on every social media platform. So just assume that I will never reach out to you. Okay? And I also was going to let everybody know too, the only places that we take payment, and we don't take crypto. We don't take crypto. Not yet. We will eventually, I'm sure. But the only places that we take payment is on Patreon, is on my website, ZachRector.com for XRP family merch, and on TikTok Shop. So if you are thinking that you're giving me money, or God forbid, you're trying to give me crypto, which I don't take crypto for anything, but if you're not giving it to us on Patreon, if you're not buying XRP family merch on our website, ZachRector.com, or you're not buying on TikTok Shop, you are not sending me money. And I would never ask you for money outside of our venues that we have available on Patreon, on our TikTok Shop, and obviously for our merch on our website, ZachRector.com. So please watch out, guys. These guys are only going to pick up from here. They're very, very sophisticated with AI and everything. I got AI videos on TikTok of me saying crazy stuff. They take my audio, slap it on top of somebody else, trying to run you into some other scheme. But just know that we only take payment on Patreon, ZachRector.com, and TikTok Shop. That's it. Patreon, TikTok Shop, and ZachRector.com. That's it. Tonight we drink champagne. Thanks for all you do, Daniel. We won. Did I get rug pulled on Joey? No. Oh, no. No, Joey's doing fine. It pulled back, but that one's going to run again, in my opinion. I already bought the dip on Joey, actually. Yeah, I see it's come down a little bit today. No, that's not a rug. I think that actually it's an opportunity to buy it before the next leg higher, personally. The Joey wallet's in beta right now. I actually have a version of it that I could try out. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But the team behind Joey Wallet, they sent me the app, the beta test. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But as that wallet goes live later this month, I think that wallet, that meme and that narrative will pick up again. And I believe that it does end up going higher inevitably. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah, if you guys are looking for my official links, just go to my website. The website is my safe spot. The website has all my official links. We have multiple emails that you can reach out to us there. Stay safe, please. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up this session tonight. I had a lot of fun with you guys. We're celebrating the fact that the SEC is publicly acknowledging that they do not have the best hand at the poker table. And in fact, they are folding. They are quitting. They are admitting that they were wrong on the facts. This case should have never been brought, but the XRP community has been completely vindicated. The facts were always on our side, and now it is available for the world to see. Next week, that XRP documentary will start going viral. We're taking the party to XRP Las Vegas at the end of this month. And really, this journey is just getting started because now we've entered a new reality, a new era of XRP on a level playing field. Now it's time to see this thing's real potential. So lock in, ZachRector.com. Like it for us on the way out. God bless all of you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you all.